My name is Bob Chapman, and I'm with Bank of the James here in Lynchburg, Virginia. And we started Bank of the James back in 1998. So I had recently moved to town just about 3 years prior and was finding a lot of events that I would go to or people talking on the street that Lynchburg needed a local bank. And being a relative newcomer to Lynchburg, I figured that certainly someone would start a bank. I mean, it made perfect sense. And long and short of it is that never materialized, and myself and co-founder Todd Scruggs, we went out and recruited a board of directors. Took us about 6 months to do that. We quit our jobs at a former bank and began the task of organizing and applying for a charter for Bank of the James. I think a lot of people sometimes have preconceived notions that entrepreneurship is exciting and fun and always successful. Because a lot of times you'll hear from these entrepreneurs at the time in their business cycle that things have succeeded. But I think that a lot of times folks maybe think it's kind of fun and exciting, and it is very much so that way. But it's not for the faint of heart, because when you choose to start a business that you're responsible for on many fronts, as I've said earlier, you know, it can really become your life. And I think that you hear all the stories, the companies in Silicon Valley and other companies that started in garages, and it sounds interesting and fun, and it is at the time, but it's certainly not to be underestimated as to what it takes to create something from scratch, basically, and make it successful, and make it successful in the long run. And I think sometimes people that delve into entrepreneurship underestimate that part of it. But again, I would certainly take my hat off to anyone that takes on the challenge, because it certainly would be one of the tallest challenges one has undertaken. I guess the best advice I can give someone for starting a business here in Lynchburg is make certain the best that you can in your planning and in your analysis and forecasting of revenues and expenses. Try to make sure you have enough equity capital into the project. So many good ideas that would be wonderful returns on investment die after 2 or 3 years because the business runs out of capital. So one of the things I would suggest in your planning and in your analysis to start a business is be real conservative on how you estimate expenses, meaning estimate them high, and on the revenue side, maybe be a little bit harder on what you really think you can do, so that your planning can be as accurate as possible. You're always going to have surprises when you start a business. 100% of the time there's going to be a surprise, and usually that surprise is going to cost you some money. So I would say that to the degree you can do your homework, really try to take time to analyze your idea and what you think would be successful in any community, whether it's Lynchburg or wherever. Just take the time to think through and do the analysis on what you think you can do realistically years 1, 2, and 3. It's hard to really forecast out much beyond that, but it's hard to forecast sometimes 6 months from now. But try to do that the best that you can, because I've seen in my career in banking so many good businesses that had good basics, good people, great ideas. After about the 2nd or 3rd year, they just run out of steam because they didn't have enough capital up front, and also have their expectations for return in line. And secondly, Lynchburg has a lot of business activities and opportunities to get out in the community and introduce yourself and try to build a network. And I would say that to the degree you can do that outside of your business time would be time well spent. This is a word of mouth town, and so if you're out trying to start a business and get things going. Try to build that network and do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. That would go a long way for someone that wants to operate in this part of the world.